Section 18C of Australia's Racial Discrimination Act states that it is unlawful to offend, insult, humiliate or intimidate somebody on the basis of their race. But a series of highly publicised events over recent years has given rise to the argument that the wording of 18C should be changed. Those against the changes say that 18C currently protects the rights of ethnic minorities in Australia, while those for the new wording say the proposed amendment would strengthen freedom of speech. The burning question is, are the proposed changes to Section 18C likely to improve or worsen racial vilification in Australia?
Oh my.
The Racial Discrimination Act was first drafted in 1975, granting widespread protections for Australian minorities, but in 2009 a series of inflammatory articles written by Conservative columnist Andrew Bolt were brought under the microscope of the Human Rights Commission and found to be in breach of Section 18C. In 2013, then Prime Minister Tony Abbott vowed to make radical changes to the wording of 18C. That same year, Queensland University of Technology student Alex Wood, after being asked to leave an Indigenous computer room, made a post on Facebook which was deemed racially offensive by an Indigenous staff member, who subsequently took him and a number of other students to court under Section 18C. But the discourse truly reached its peak in 2016, after cartoonist Bill Leak was investigated by the Human Rights Commission following the publication of a cartoon depicting an Indigenous father unable to recognise his own son.
To find some answers on why the federal government recently proposed changes to 18C, I spoke with President of Australian Lawyers for Human Rights, Benedict Coyne.
Things are going downhill at a rapid rate in Australia. This section 18C and Part 2A existed in the Racial Discrimination Act from 1995 until about 2010 without anyone batting an eyelid. There was no problem. There was no controversy with it. What happened? Andrew Bolt was caught in its headlights, and Andrew Bolt is a very influential conservative media figure. There is no need for a change to this section, and in fact, what we need to do is strengthen it even more than it was, and we need to address racism in this country because it's a toxic scourge.
On the other side of the debate is Morgan Begg, a research fellow at the Institute of Public Affairs. He was unimpressed by the reporting of the debate and believes changes to 18C would strengthen freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech is a cornerstone value that we've inherited from our Western tradition. It's the foundation of a democratic society. A lot of the response has been quite disappointing in reducing the debate down to a matter of, oh, well, you want to change Section 18, so you therefore support racism, which is really just quite underhanded and grossly inaccurate. You don't achieve racial harmony by imposing it from Parliament. People respect other people because it's the right thing to do.
Spokesperson for the campaign against racism and fascism, Debbie Brennan agrees about treating humans with respect, but doesn't believe changing Section 18C has anything to do with it.
To persecute groups of people is not free speech. Those are two very different things. Free speech is the right to express an opinion without being censored and without any kind of retribution, legal or otherwise. That's free speech, but that's very different from vilifying a group of people because of their race, their ethnicity, their gender, their sexuality, or whatever. That is persecution. To take out those words, what that is really saying is that they want to broaden that platform to be able to vilify and scapegoat groups of people, again, starting with the Racial Discrimination Act.
After the momentum had been gained, the proposed changes to Section 18C appeared in the Senate in March of 2017, but its appearance was soon struck down by Labor, the Greens, and key crossbenchers with a vote of 31 to 28. A poll conducted by Fairfax Media at the same time found that 8 out of 10 Australians thought there was no need to alter the wording of 18C.
It is a human right not to be insulted or humiliated or offended in any way on the basis of race or any other basis. That is an absolute bottom line human right.
What this whole thing has been about is about giving a green light to racism in Australia. Everyone has the right to freedom of speech, only insofar as it doesn't harm the rights of another person.
Clearly, distinct divisions exist in Australia between what falls under the umbrella of freedom of speech and what constitutes racial bigotry. What both sides of the argument can agree on, though, is that this debate is far from over and likely to arise again in the Senate in the near future.